The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi!
Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
John, I understand you have calling in now. Alireza Jafarzadeh, he can talk about the Iranian.
I have a tough time pronouncing his name. I know that.
Yeah, it's a hard name. It's not like Tim Jones. It's a tough name. But he's going to talk about the Iranian resistance.
What is happening inside Iran? What is going on? What is today? Is a friend. His name is Alireza Jafarzadeh. He is the Deputy Director of the United States Office of National Council of Resistance of Iran. Well, Alireza, tell us what's going on inside Iran that the American people haven't heard about what's going on yet.
Well, absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. John Katzenmaitidis. Really appreciate being on your show. Definitely, there's a lot happening inside Iran. People may know about the outlaw behavior of the Iran regime. The world knows about their terrorism, their weapons of mass destruction, their missile program. But the most important element when it comes to Iran is the people of Iran who have entirely rejected this regime. A vast majority of the Iranian population want the mullahs, who are the clerics who have stolen the leadership of a genuine revolution. They want them out. And that's why since 2018, we have had several rounds of major uprisings in Iran in all 31 provinces of the country. People want change. And now, in the midst of the war, the regime has now turned against their own population and started executing political prisoners in Iran. They started, in late March by executing in groups of two, a total of 8 members of the main Iranian opposition known as the MEK, which is the same movement that acts as engine for change during the protests, the same movement that exposed all the major nuclear sites of Iran, and the same movement that has stood exactly opposite to the mullahs calling for freedom and democracy. And then they went against those they arrested during the January of this year protests that the regime had to kill thousands and thousands of people. But those that they have arrested, they're handpicking, the young ones, those who wanted to confront the Revolutionary Guards, which is the military structure that keeps the regime in power, trying to create fear among the minds of the people. But in reality, this is an absolute sign of desperation. This is a regime that is very weak, but wants to project power. That's the reality in Iran.
Alireza, when you were in my office the other day, you had a book of many and many of your compatriots passing away. What do you think the amount of people assassinated in the last few years?
Well, the book that you're referring to was published actually 20 years ago that contained the names and pictures of 20,000 members of our movement, many of them very young people who were handpicked by the regime and executed. And since then, thousands more have been killed. There's at least about 120,000 political executions in Iran. Yet, whatever the regime has done has backfired. It hasn't succeeded in silencing the population. That's why the more the regime kills, the more it creates incentive for especially the younger generation that want to end the rule of the clerics. I think that's an important reality that a lot of people don't know about it, because the regime successfully over the years both managed to silence the population but make everything around the whole issue of terrorism and weapons of mass destruction and negotiations and talks and all of that, so that people in the U.S. or in Europe will not pay attention to what's really happening in Iran and the desire of the people for change.
Now, the resistance movement, do they have guns to protect themselves now?
Well, the resistance movement definitely they want to confront the Revolutionary Guards, and in many instances they managed to disarm the guards that have all the weapons. They're organizing and they're actually doing efforts to groups in local areas to confront the guards. They have created a network in Iran, which is very powerful, known as resistance units. These are mostly young people. Just 5 days before the start of the war by the U.S. and Israel, these resistance units attacked the headquarters of the Supreme Leader Khamenei, who was alive at the time, using 250 of their members, showing how the momentum is actually shifting. This is the new reality of Iran that I think the U.S. and Europe should understand. These are the true allies of the outside world, that they need to support these young people, the organized resistance. Interestingly, John, this movement is led by a woman, Mrs. Maryam Rajavi, which is a sharp contrast to the misogynist ideology of the clerics in Iran that are, they say women can't even be a judge. And that's why I think the big contrast exists between the opposition, the people on one side, and the regime on the other side must be highlighted. And that's why we feel, if the world does the right thing, that is, put the pressure on the Iran regime, don't give them concessions, side with the people of Iran, recognize their right to fight and confront the Revolutionary Guards, you're going to see change without the need for boots on the ground or appropriation of money or providing arms.
We'd like to talk to you more often. What do you want to conclude this evening on what the heck is going on? How long is this going to go on before there is peace?
Well, no one can give you a timeline, but one thing I can tell you, John, that, the community, everyone has never been so fired up and galvanized. Come 2 weeks from now and Saturday, May 16, there's going to be a big rally in Washington, D.C., in front of the Capitol. People calling for an end to the executions in Iran, calling for a free, democratic, non-nuclear Republic Iran. And then they're going to start marching from Capitol Hill towards the White House. You're going to see thousands and thousands of people. That's the way to generate attention. That's the way to generate, whether it's members of Congress or the administration, everyone should focus on that one. And the rest, I think, it all depends on how the regime responds, what they eventually manage to do. But when it comes to the people and also the people in the diaspora, we are so focused on supporting democracy and freedom in Iran.
Alireza, thank you for the update, and we'll talk again real soon. Thank you so much.
John, always a pleasure. Great pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Wow, that is interesting to hear what's going there. Boy, we're praying for the people of Iran.
Absolutely.
Born on America's darkest day of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been helping America's heroes ever since. Heroes like FDNY Lieutenant Edward J. McDonough Jr., a Marine Corps veteran and lifelong public servant. After 9/11, McDonough served at Ground Zero. He later lost his life to a related cancer, leaving behind his wife Kimberly and their 5 children. Tunnel to Towers honored his sacrifice by paying off the family's mortgage. Donate $11 monthly and amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Go to T2T.org today.